How's it going, guys? Not really lost in the desert here anymore. I'm your host, Kyrandis, and welcome back to Black Desert. Today's video is about gathering. Obviously, I'm not going to really be gathering in this video. I'm just running through the desert, but gathering is something that everybody should consider doing, I guess, if you're into gathering. This is pretty much the grinding of life skills. So if you're into, like, grinding for life skills, this is pretty much it. Gathering is the one that takes up the most time. You got to be active for it for the most part if you really want to like do gathering. It's pretty much you need to know what you're gonna gather. What you're gonna gather is either it's for resources, like resources for anything to do with life skilling in the game, or even upgrades for your gear. Gathering is very important in a sense. You can make anywhere from about 50 mil to 200 mil an hour depending on whatever the heck you're doing and what mastery or level you are at. So I did about 500 gathers on stream just to give you a bit of a sample of like what kind of products you get. Basically, if you're gathering meat, you will get a lot of black gem fragments for life skill gear. You will also get that as well if you collect blood. Blood gives a lot of fragments as well. If you're collecting fluid sap from trees or chopping trees with a log, I didn't do a 500 valuation, but I'm conversed with other gatherers that logs chopping trees gives just as much Caphras and ancient spirit dust for Caphras stones is where the money comes from for logging. Obviously with the changes to imperial delivery and whatnot, some of the tools are now and materials are more in abundant, like logs for instance. These used to be 7.5k but have now dropped down to 3k ever since the inception of Mano's cooking masteries. Same with rough stones. Rough stone is also used to be sought out for quite often, but this is still used in Node Wars. Not too many people need this resource to make cooking utensils as often as they used to, or advanced alchemy tools. And pretty much gathering is in that form of nutshell. So if you want a lot of black gem fragments, you want to do either meat gathering of any kind, or either that sucking blood out of mobs or monsters or animals. Okay, so blood suck equals gem fragments, and meat gathering equals gem fragments at a very high rate of more than all the other ones. And if you want Caphras stones, then you want to suck fluid sap out of trees of any kind, or log chop trees with an axe of any kind. And if you want to go rough stone mining, it's sort of on the lower end of things. I feel like rough stones don't really get too much gem fragments or Caphras or ancient spirit dust at all. It's more on the lower rate below both of those things that I just mentioned. If you do one of those that I just mentioned previously, they're very concentrated on that material. If you do a lot of fluid collecting on sap, you don't really get much gem fragments at all. And same with Caphras stones and ancient spirit dust for meat or blood sucking. Okay, so and then if you want EXP, most people gather at bear. There's a huge like herb pile here. Some people flag up on each other and blow each other up over wild herbs. It's kind of wild. You'll need a gathering hoe for that. Doesn't matter what kind. It's just the most EXP per hour kind of thing if you're trying to level up the skill actively. Pilgrim's Haven for rocks as well is also fairly good for EXP. I tried it out myself just to see how far my bar goes up, and the rest, everything else is like plummeting in EXP. It's not very good at all. And if you don't want to actively gather for EXP, which is a lot of effort, and you also need a pretty good amount of energy, then you also need one easy way is to pick up a bunch of empty bottles and go to the hot springs in Duvenkroon and just gather the bath water there. Kind of disturbing because there's a bunch of shies there, and yeah, so it's +1 energy in the springs there, so you can gain energy and just sort of just semi AFK because you just press the button with a bunch of bottles in your inventory, and then you'll start collecting the water, and you also have a +1 energy gain while standing in the springs. And that's an easy way to level up your character to at least skilled 5. And the reason why I tell this of skilled 5 is because if you do not have Manos tools, it is best to use magic tools while you can. Because obviously you probably don't have the capital or anything to create like a Manos collector or anything like that. But definitely you probably are able to use a magic fluid collector once you hit skilled 5. One of the fastest ways to get that is just getting a bunch of empty bottles and gathering water with it. Over time, you will eventually reach skill 5. Then you can pick up these things off the market because they're very cheap now. They're in abundance because people are using Manos tools instead, so they don't need to use the magic tools anymore. And the benefit from the magic tools is good early on when you don't have too much mastery, but then once you get paramount more mastery, then you may want to start considering getting into a Manos item or whatever. If you don't want to keep restocking as well, and you don't want to have a bunch of axes or tools in your whatever, try and pick up like a Logia knife as well. They're very low end, very cheap. They'll still give you a good amount of mastery. It's not too bad. And if you already got good clothes for it, but you aren't really too sure which one you want to start gathering a lot of, then it's fine to invest in a Logia tool as well to experiment here and there which one you may want to use or which one you may not want to use. Alright, so that's pretty much gathering in a nutshell. There's not too much I want to go about it. The gathering is just a lot of work. And I did the evaluations by number of gathers, not by how much energy I spent, because I don't know what level you are at in your gathering. Your gathering, the higher level you get, the less energy you spend. Every level in gathering lowers the chance, increases the chance where you don't lose energy upon gathering. So that's why I did the evaluations through X number of gathers based on my tool here. So I did two 240s and then a 20 more for a 500. And then I pretty much got these results on the screenshots here, and that's the results of what gathering was. Those materials are sought out by everybody on the server, whether it's for life skill gear or for combat gear. That's where most of the money is generated from. And the valuation of 50 mil to 200 mil is if you just like sell all the materials straight up into the market. You can make more on top of that, but then it takes time and effort to put it into recipes, craft it into an item, stare at the market, look at numbers go up and down essentially, and know when to post them or whatever, or what everybody's wanting at the moment. There could be an event that makes an influx of that. So you have to gauge it as well. But if you want instant cash, you can just post it all on there. Most of the time the items are worth about 50 mil to 200 mil worth of items if you just sell everything. Alright, and that's pretty much it for gathering. I don't really have too much else to go about. If I think of something else, I'll do a summary added up update on every other part when I release the rest of all the other videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye for now. Peace.